Welcome to Beauty Business Matters. I'm Susan Routledge, your host, and we're here today with Mark Maloney, who is the CEO and founder of Professional Beauty Magazine and Trade Exhibitions. Mark and I have known each other for many, many years, and we're going to talk through not only how the company started, but how it developed. And for the first 7 years, wasn't making any profit, but through sheer perseverance has grown this company to the size it is today. We also talk through where Mark sees the industry going and through so many other golden nuggets. So I hope you love this episode as much as I've enjoyed recording it with Mark. Mark, thank you so much for giving your time up to come over.
It's good to be here, it really is. Nice to see you always.
Oh, I know, and I feel like we've got to have so much to talk about. Obviously, I've known you for many, many years, and we've worked together on lots of different projects yeah. And I absolutely love that. But I think what anyone doesn't realise, they see you at the shows, you know, all like everything looking absolutely pristine and fabulous and things, but
it's a bit like a swan because I have a really good team.
Yeah, an amazing team.
And C, hopefully we've done the preparation so it looks good. But there's normally about a million things going on where you're arguing with the venue on this, or you know, there's not enough. There's an issue on catering or access or whatever. So there's always something that jumps out at you. But in theory, we should all be able to swan around and make it look easy. But no, I've got a really good team and they help me a lot.
I know we're jumping ahead, but it always amazes me when you get there the day before and it's just like a flat pack. It's like IKEA flat pack, and then all of a sudden, it turns into this absolutely beautiful venue for all of us.
There's teams working in some respects round the clock. It's pretty much 3 days to build it. But as you say, the last day, an awful lot happens. The exhibitors come with their stands. And yeah, there's an awful lot of effort goes in. Try and make it interesting and new.
So we sort of jumped ahead because obviously the shows are fantastic. Magazine's amazing. So I want to talk a little bit about your team as well, because they are fabulous.
Thank you.
But where did it all start, Mark?
Well, apart from some odd jobs, I've been involved in exhibitions, and we did a show for retail pharmacists, chemists. And one of the brands there, who still exists, Salon System, she's left now, but the marketing person said to me, there's this event in Brighton called Health and Beauty. Why don't you launch one in London? Because they're a little bit arrogant and they're the only ones. And at the same time, they had an event in Manchester, and I went with my sales manager with literally an A4 paper with some stands drawn out, and we'd sold 19 just there and then. So we thought we had something. So our first event was at the Novotel in 1989.
So this is when everyone used to go to Brighton, the Metropole Hotel. I can remember that. And Manchester was in the Piccadilly Hotel, wasn't it? Oh my word. Can you imagine trying to fit it into a hotel now? Amazing. So how many years ago was that?
Oh gosh, 36, 7. I can't. It was in 89 was the first show in the Novotel. And then the next year we went to Olympia, very small, and it kind of grew year on year on year.
So at that point, did you know anything about the beauty industry?
No. I was an exhibition organizer. I knew about events. In fact, I did something terrible, which I put a picture of a person having a massage, but it wasn't. She had her legs up in a slightly not sexual pose, which of course that's not what a massage is about. So I soon learned, and Babtak quite very kindly suggested that perhaps this wasn't the pose, and that was a quick lesson that we learned very quickly. So yes, that was a real faux pas. And of course, in those days, the business was the preserve in terms of the people who visited beauty salons, by and large, were the preserve of the ladies who lunched. It really was the preserve who were quite wealthy, and hasn't that dramatically changed and become far more democratic with so many different people taking professional treatments. And that is what really we are about over the years. As you can see, I don't have as enough treatments that I perhaps should, but the respect that the team and I have for the professional beauty therapists, salon owners, is just second to none. I think this is something that the industry needs to shout a bit more, because at its best, obviously not everybody is a good business person. The salon owners, some of them, combine great empathy and care for their customers with some really sharp business practice, really good business practice. And that's very rare in life. No, you often, you look at Alan Sugar and you're fired type of thing, and you think that's how business should be conducted. Clearly that's make-believe in TV. But the salon sector, beauty and hair, but particularly beauty, have a real care about their customers as their teams. Yeah. And as well as some very savvy business people. And I think we need to shout that more. That's what we're about, to try and boost the market for professional treatments. Yeah.
And as well, I mean, as far as business goes, when I first started in business, it was more really good luck than good management where my business was progressing, and I think it was the passion that drove that forwards rather than having good business acumen.
Well, I think that's true for many people today. Then they start as being a therapist or a hairdresser. Their passion is for those treatments, and they feel that sales is a dirty word. It's not for them. And even now, as you'll know, many people don't always make that successfully. And one of our jobs is to say, well, actually, look, bringing people together. And you meet some people through your groups as well and through at the shows that they do it so well. And hopefully if she can do it, why can't I do it? Why can't I try? If she can motivate her team, why can't I? And I think that's what we're trying to do with the magazines, the online, and of course the events that we do, is just bring people together so they can learn.
I know since we started doing the Beauty Roundup events at the show, that's what's come out of it, because obviously we put brilliant salon owners on stage showing what they have achieved, and the amount of salon owners, especially the solo operators, they're just like, I just never thought that I would be able to achieve that. And it's just so inspiring to see so many get inspired.
Yes, I think that is what a lot of people, don't they? They have a bit of a nervousness of asking questions or being in a group or whatever. And your events at Professional Beauty, what they do is allow people just to either sit down and just relax and absorb, or ask those silly questions, which aren't really silly, but they're just nervous of answering in a kind of safe space where they can ask anything they want. And how would you have done this? Or how did you go through this? And as you say, some of the people who we have, some of them are absolutely super, super clever and gone to university. Others have come from nowhere. And really, you see all people of all different walks of life achieve success. Yeah. And that is what's so good about the business itself and the profession, and particularly your events.
And this is what I love. I love the fact that you can have so many different businesses, but everyone's business is totally, not totally different, but has a different journey. Yes. I just find that so inspiring. And, you can find that you can have, I can just, from when I was at college, the different paths that the students that I was with at the time have gone, some have gone into totally different careers. Some have taken, and this is what I absolutely love about our industry, where you can train, but then you can take just one element of it and then go and turn that into a whole career, whether it be nails, whether it be lashes, whether it be facials. I don't think there's many industries. I always say you can't be a plumber and just do pipes. The thing is that, you can take one element and travel the whole world and do so much, or add other bits, elements into your business, change your direction? I mean, for me, obviously, I've gone from me on my own, doing some teaching, salon owner, then onto, eventually doing
clinic,
business.
and then
I had an aesthetic practice, and now obviously doing what I do with Beauty Directors Club and everything. There's just so many different routes that you can go down. I just love our industry.
Yes, and there's an element of sharing that people, look, you do have sometimes somebody next to you that is viciously competing and viciously undermining your business. And that does happen. Let's not pretend it doesn't. But the vast majority of salons I come into, they're not worried about what the person next door does, and they can be complementary. There's a different price point, different service level, and really one of the reasons for the show is to bring people together so we can learn. I find I learn as much from my 22-year-old marketing exec as I could do for a business person that's been in business for a long time. Both have different things to tell me, and I think that is where we bring people together and they discuss things. They realise I picked up that little note. I didn't realise she did it that way. That's a good way. Oh, she had that problem with a member of staff. This is how she dealt. That's good. So there's a lot we can share, and I think that's a really big raison d'etre of what we're about.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about, we actually have my clinic. We have a salon that is right next door, and we've got a great relationship with them. We've got a totally different clientele. We have overlap on some treatments, but the thing is, we've got different price point.
Indeed.
We've got different levels of experience and things, and some of the treatments they do, we wouldn't want to do, and vice versa. And to be honest, we've got a really good relationship with them and all the other salons in the town. And I always think, clients, if you get your branding right and get your ethos and what your business is about right, and show your expertise, clients are attracted to that. And I think this is the way forwards in our industry, where there's such a sea of salons now, and it's
finding what's
out.
right to you and your niche. And let's not pretend it's easy. I think anybody that employs anybody knows that that's tough. Getting the most, I'm not necessarily the best of it at all, but getting the most out of your team is a challenge for any business. And it's easier when you have more people. But that route, when we were very small, so up to 10, everybody's a family. Between 10 and 25 is difficult because you're big enough, but you don't have an HR department and so forth. So, dealing with members of teams and making sure they're performing, let's not underestimate that. It is a very, very, to get that right. And it's not easy. And I think what we're trying to achieve with the events and online and on the magazine is to just to show examples of somebody who has done it and come through. Because most of us haven't had the business landed on a plate. You see salon owners who started as a one-person band or working for other persons. She's gone off on her own. She's had setbacks. A couple of your group have had really bad setbacks and then bounced back from that. So I don't think we should say it's easy. Some people some people learn quickly and get it quickly, and good for them.
Yeah.
But people come to it at different times, and I think what we're there to do is as a support network, aren't we? Really, to show this can be done. Let's not underestimate how tough it is, but it can be done. And some people being a home-based or freelance is great.
You know what? Some home-based and freelancer are making more than someone with a team. I've worked with quite a few who are doing so well, because you can really hone into that expertise. If it's just you, I think it is a little bit harder when you've got a team, because everyone has different qualities in a team, kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, again, though, this is the thing. I know we were talking earlier about sort of where you see the changes possibly coming in over the next year.
I'm concerned, obviously, like all of us, about the national insurance rise. It is, it's both the threshold has risen, so it's cut from 10 to 5, and obviously the rise. that is a huge burden on the salon sector. Now, the government was elected with a mandate to spend on public services, but I don't think that it realises quite the impact it could have, and it could be detrimental. So one, I do think, sadly, that some salons will close. Others will take the route of pushing people freelance. Others will cut staff. If some staff's on the borderline, then that they won't be able to afford to keep people. And the worst thing is potentially apprentices, because they're at risk. And I know already salon owners that are cutting back on that. So, and some will just turn in themselves saying, I've had enough with the risk and the paying the rent and the staff and the rest of it. I'm just going to go home-based or freelance myself. So it is a real threat. And I just hope anybody listening out, government, we understand it's tough. You've got to raise revenue. But staff costs in the salon industry is a disproportionate amount of our costs. Yeah. And it could end up bringing less. So if there can be any measure to help with apprentices and apprenticeships, or any measure to slightly mitigate that for the salon sector, I know everybody's shouting, but it really is a massive issue. And we've had the powers have gone up recently. They had a series of issues, and I think we need to shout and say, hold on, can you help?
Yeah, I mean, there's only, obviously you can increase your prices, and obviously, I think a lot of salons are fearful of charging their worth, which, they as professionals, quite often I see a lot of salons where they try and just absorb costs. I don't think you can. I think you've got to pass those costs on.
I think you should really look at it. I mean, I look from my own business. We're not a salon business. We certainly on a very competitive environment and will not be passing on those costs. So that will be a hit to us. But we're not a salon sector, and staff is a very big cost, but it's not the same as running a salon.
Yeah.
But I do think you should look and explain the situation to your customers. And I think it depends where you are, of course, but most will be understanding.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, I speak to so many salon owners are fearful of changing their prices. And then when they do, clients are just like absolutely fine about it. I always like to say, you don't go to the supermarket and they're shouting about, like beans are up in price and things. It's just sort of, yep, that's what's happening kind of thing. And I think the fear is from the salon owners and clinic owners that they think that their clients are going to be more price conscious than they are, and fingers crossed. I mean, I think with things like that, you do lose some clients, but then that opens up for new clients. So, but then the apprenticeship side, I think that is such a shame, because I mean, for my team, most of my therapists, that's the route we bring them in from. And it's a great route, because from early on, you've got someone who's learning your ways, getting incorporate into your business and how you run the business. And I think, it's a special kind of bond that you have, and I've got some of my team have been with me like 15 years have been on apprenticeships. And I think if we, that is to me a great route to bring someone new in. And fingers crossed, hopefully something will happen where that changes, where apprenticeships become that great thing. Well, I mean, they are great, but affordable kind of thing.
I think the hair sector has it harder, because typically apprentices do not earn anything. So if you're not earning, it's a cost. Whereas some apprenticeships in beauty will start doing some work and therefore can earn. So, but it's easy to say, look, you should take on an apprenticeship, but if your salon is struggling, then what you're going to do, and you have to look at all costs, and you preach that as well as any business advisor, is look at your cost base and make sure that's really under control.
I mean, I must admit, what we've always done with apprenticeships, we've always brought someone in who's already done their level 2. Simply because bringing someone in who's got no skills
think that's what happened.
There's not very much that they can actually do until they've got some skills. Having someone who's gone through level 2 means
they've got that core.
And then it's just a case of perfecting those skills. Yes. And then as well, they can incorporate in as the team, within the team, a lot easier, and as well start working on clients whilst they're doing the level 3. So that is the way that I know we've always done it, and a lot of everyone in Beauty Directors Club tends to do it as well. And that works really, really well. But still, again, that is going to still have like an effect now kind of thing. So... yeah, fingers crossed.
Well, it's not all gloom and doom. I mean, it is a big concern. I don't know what...
It wouldn't put me off taking another apprenticeship.
But there's some positives as well. Let's not focus on... So in previous years, probably before the pandemic, landlords would not always take kindly to, prime locations, to having salons there. Now, our sector is a driver for footfall. Yeah. You cannot have treatments online, like you can if you buy your book from WH Smith or whatever. And salons drive attendance, and we have that leverage and more scope that people want what the sector does. Yeah. And so that is a big positive, I think. So it's not all. Rents have generally, depending where you are, but generally come down. Rates obviously still a big issue. So, but at least we're taken more seriously. So it's not all negative.
But as well, I've always been fascinated by AI. And the thing is, I've been invited to some private dinners before where it's like just business people who are maximising on AI. And the last one we were at, we were talking quite a lot about the beauty sector. And of course, the thing is that the last thing that's ever going to go is like the power of touch. Yes. and in interaction that way kind of thing, where, there's a lot of industries that it's going to have a huge impact as it develops, where we are, they all seem to think that our industry would just get stronger on that side. So I do think there is a lot of plus points of our industry moving forward. And, I always think as well that sometimes, if business just carried on and was just, perfect, we'd be bored. I think sometimes something needs to happen for you then to start and pivot or move in a different direction or just strengthen what you're doing. And I think sometimes, that although it can look a little bit scary, it's 9 times out of 10, you're like, yeah, it's great that happened. You just got to look, while we were all closed, there was, I think it gave some people the opportunity to get out of their businesses, but as well, it also strengthened so many people's businesses because they could then look at the bigger picture of where they wanted to take them, and that happened a lot with.
Well, you look at, in terms of many salons have gone and invested in advanced treatments. And I'm not going to here particularly push any one particular bit of machinery or whatever, but the amounts that even in not just in central London or central Manchester, you have some salons who are charging really strong rates, much higher than relatively, obviously there's been inflation than pre-pandemic, because they've convinced their customer base of the value in what they're doing. So if you look at that, it's really trying to step back and understand your market. And that's what the pandemic, although it was dreadful for so many of us, it allowed some at least to focus, as you say, on what do I stand for? What am I about as a business?
Yeah, totally. And I mean, I think the forward-thinking businesses really, really excelled out of that. And I just see so many great things that did come out of it. It was devastating at the time, but when you And now it just feels like we were only closed about a fortnight when you think about how long we were closed, and it's like sort of time you forget, isn't it, kind of thing.
Indeed, it hit us as well. Obviously, we don't just do the events, but that was a main part of our business. Not being able to host events and stage events was really tough. And even coming back, the events aren't quite as size as they were. And in a sense, we have to rise to that challenge, give value to our exhibitors, allow them to participate, and not always having those huge booths that they have, but still make it interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lot more for this coming Professional Beauty, doing training and demos on the stands, which we're helping them do. So we have to reinvent ourselves. People, I think, generally in society are just a little bit more cautious of coming out, not because they're afraid of pandemic, but they're just saying, what's going to make me? Why should I get off my bum and come to any event, to the theatre, to a restaurant, to an exhibition? And we have to hit that message very strong, and offer value to the visitor, make sure it's worth her day out or 2 days out, and obviously our exhibitor base. And by offering events like yours, where Beauty Roundup, where people can meet and discuss the challenges, by offering really good content on the stages, by the pool of exhibitors, the range, whether there's a new treatment from overseas or your existing favourites, and by offering some on-floor demonstrations to make it really key for everyone. And we also need to appeal to so many audiences. You've got a salon owner, she may be in her 50s, thinks she knows the business, of course she does, or somebody just starting, maybe starting on her own, working for somebody else, being freelance. We have to be relevant to all those people, and offer something from whatever you are on your journey, whether you're working for somebody, just started being self-employed, or running 5 salons. I would like to think there's something for everyone, but it's our job. We're only as good as our last gig. So I can say I've been doing it for 30 years. Who cares? It is what you're delivering for the next year. And that kind of keeps you very, very focused. Because my exhibitors don't give a stuff that we've been in business 30-something years. All they care about is, will I get a return on my investment now? Will I meet the right people? And you coming to Excel in London or GMEX Manchester, is it worth your while? And we have to make sure it is. Yeah. And we don't take that for granted.
Yeah, but the thing is, I always think there is something magical about everyone being together at the shows and things. And I don't think you can ever substitute standing having
you'll
the
see
face-to-face.
something. Yeah, you'll see something. I don't care
there's
how.
Always something.
You've been in the business a long while. You see something, and I always remember the sales manager of Clarins actually when they exhibited, and they said, "Mark, I don't understand why somebody wouldn't come to the show, because I always see the trends. I always spot something that's there, and you do get that." And I think people from outside the industry, this business and COVID, can you remember when Boris knocked the industry and made a joke about that? But I think when you come to Excel, you realise, hey, this is quite a big event, and it's bigger than many other sectors. Yeah. So people who don't, they always say to me, "Oh wow, I thought yours was some little beauty and nails thing." No, it's a substantial event which contributes, the business, professional beauty, health and beauty business, contributes a huge amount to the economy and provides huge employment and a route for people, as we were talking earlier, to start their own business and be their own boss.
Yeah, and the education side, I think that has got bigger.
Yes.
You just looking at sort of the numbers in each of the sessions. Yeah. Where once over, I think that used to be secondary to the show.
And now it's a very important part of it. Yeah. So we've got an advanced stage, and advanced treatments, talking about all the treatments that either are there from to treat menopause to also longevity. And then we have a business stage where we talk about marketing and staff and all those issues that if you run a business, whatever your size. We have trends and techniques. We have our International Spa Convention where people come from all over the world. We have a distributors and manufacturers meeting. So I think whatever, we have nails, lashes, makeup. So whatever you are, whether you're into nails or running an advanced treatment clinic, there's something for you. That's what I'd like to think.
Yeah. And I love how that's sectioned off now.
Yeah.
But when you're saying worldwide, do you find that, because obviously you have shows all over the world now.
Not quite all over, but a few.
How many countries now?
We are in Dubai, in India. We're really strong in India. We're in South Africa, Ireland. We've got an event, a spa event in Paris, and a big now event in Barcelona. So
do you see, it's very impressive, do you see a change in sort of like how different countries are handling, or do you think it's across the board that, you know, that we've all in the same pool of issues and different things? I think
the similarities are much bigger than the differences. Now, obviously, India is a complete market from the UK, but fundamentally, that's what's so good. The salon owner, you get some, in India, it's more divergent. So you get some, I would say, awful salons in India that you wouldn't want to walk in through, or the most luxury, beautiful salons in the world ever. The extreme of differences is huge. But at the best, you still get that passion, that person that believes in treating clients. It doesn't matter if she's Indian or I'm talking to you as a Brit. It's you. Very, very similar passions. Of course, there's different regulations, and so forth. But I think that's what I see around the world. That salon owner and therapist or home-based therapist, she's almost the same in many respects.
Yeah, and I think that's what we saw as well in Malta, because obviously, I have the Beauty Directors Club business boot camp over in Malta now every year. This will be our fourth year. The thing is as well,
which is a lot of fun, and anybody who's thinking, I think it's my best work weekend ever, you kindly invite me.
You.
And I think again that you have 40 people there, and by the time you leave, you're friends, aren't you?
Yeah.
And you leave, and there's some people there who have 4 salons, and there's some people there that run one-woman business, and everybody shares.
Yeah.
And you learn from everybody.
Yeah.
And even the person that supposedly is more successful, she has 4 salons, she'll learn as much from the one-woman band. And I think that's really good.
Yeah, that's what I absolutely love. There's no egos or anything.
Yeah.
Everyone's just in it together. But the thing is as well, I think because you not only, obviously we work hard, but then, having that time separate as well, where everyone just goes off to Valletta or whatever kind of thing. That's very, very special. Yeah. And you're still probably talking about business, but
not all the time.
Not all the time, no. And there's obviously a few parties. But what was really nice was that some of the Maltese salon owners came along when we were out there. Right. And then they all came over to the UK to Excel.
And they really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
they really enjoyed it.
Because obviously they haven't really got anything over, like any shows like we have. We just take it for granted, that we've got these fabulous shows, and that's why I would never miss them for the world, because I think it's one of those things, you've got to support the industry in that way.
I think, look,
to me,
people understand, you would hope by visiting you'd see a trend and technique, you'd find something interesting for your salon, you might find that extra special deal, particularly for a higher end item. Yes, you can get stuff online, can't you? But for that higher end item, then you can negotiate perhaps that little bit extra, or if you're looking at taking on a new range. The point is, it's not just about the price or the product. Will you support me? Most of the stands, they have their senior management there, and will I gel with that person? Will she look after me? Yeah. And you're not going to find that online. You're going to find, actually, I thought I liked that brand, but I really didn't like the way she dealt with me. I'm going to go to this one instead. So there is a lot of that. And as I said, you spot the trends, you spot the people you want to do business with, and you meet other salon owners and you'll learn something from them. And you also look at something particularly outside your comfort zone. So if you're particularly into advanced treatments, you might want to, and that's your specialisation. Well, you might want to see what the lashes are doing, even though you're not really, there might be some learnings. They do something, the way they promote themselves on social, whatever, there'll be some learning.
But I always think as well, it doesn't matter the treatments that you do and don't do, your clients could at any point be asking you about a certain treatment. It could be that it's featured on TV, or it could be that there's like an article in the press, or, you know, it could just be that there's some bad press. And I just think that you need to know about all sort of areas of the industry as well. So there's that side as well. And I think clients love that, you know, that I know our clients really love the fact that, like, we were involved with the shows and different things, and can come back and talk about, you know, what we've seen and everything like that. So it's, you know, it has the benefits above just being able to look at different stands and things. It's a
No, indeed. And it's up to us, though, as the organisers, to really make sure it's worthwhile. You know, that is something for the visit. So that is something we do not take for granted. So you'll notice in this coming March's event, a much bigger stage, more emphasis on the education, even more so, and there's more training on the stands, and there'll be some tweaks that we'll have done that hopefully make it more relevant for people to come. You know, we don't take that visit for granted, because even though you can register if you're in a professional for free, you'll you know, it's still time and money out of your business or out of your family. So you know, we've got to make it worthwhile.
And the magazine, obviously, now that's like, there's the paper copy, there's the online copy. Is that still growing? I mean,
I don't. It's not growing, but it has its niche. I think, you know, I thought that, you know, 10 years ago, would we be having a magazine now? And I think people do like to pick something up and flick through it. You know,
I
with
read
real,
it from cover to cover.
Well,
I
thank
love
you.
it.
But for books, you know, we all thought we'd be on Kindle, but no, we like a book, and it's similar with a magazine. You can pick it up, put it in a handbag, or take it to. I read magazines. I hide on the Sunday morning in the loo and just read them. And I think we all find our spot to do that. So that has its place. But we do an awful lot on digital and online. So our website has a significant reach, gets on average 80,000 unique visitors a month. Most of those are trade. We can't guarantee all, but we focus very much on supporting the professional industry and hopefully giving news as to what's out there and tips as to maybe I could try that, or look at what she's done. Maybe I could copy elements of this, or use elements of what this person's done in their businesses, and introduce new, different sorts. You know, not just be London centric, but, you know, making sure that we cover all bases of our population, all communities, all types of treatments. Yeah.
I'll tell you what I love as well. You know, the diversity of our industry now. You know, there's a lot more male therapists. There's
we haven't had a male therapist win our beauty awards, our professional beauty awards. So we'll see
we did at Babtac. We had
yes.
But you know, we've got such a diverse industry now, haven't we? You know, from
yes,
all different areas.
No, and that's great. And it's a much bigger industry, and so it pulls in. So I mean, we have a lot of fun with the Professional Beauty Awards and the World Spa and Wellness Awards that also take place in March.
Yeah.
And bringing probably amongst the best, I'd say the best, but certainly amongst the best salons and therapists and clinics in the country. And to have that when I've been involved sitting, not as a judge, but sitting on the judging panel, and to be involved with the judges, they take it so seriously, and that the always there's some innovation and some great ideas amongst those therapists and salon owners. It's great to see.
And as a judge, I mean, you're right. You know, we all do take it so seriously, kind of thing, to make sure, because I know for me, obviously, you know, we've won the awards in the past, and you know the amount of work that goes into it. And, you know, so the thing is that, to me, as a judge now, judging other people who are potentially going to win, you've got to give that time to make sure that because there's so much goes into it. But I must admit, I do love the awards, do love the event as well on the night time. It's just such a celebration of how great our industry is. I absolutely love it. It's just...
It is a celebration, and it's a reminder again to the outside world that we are a proper profession and an industry that should be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And also a lot of people who don't win think, right, I didn't win, how can I be better? So just by entering an award, it gets you to think about your business, and probably even just by entering, be just that little bit better. And then if you get into the process, it will, for no cost other than your time, make your business better. So that also helps raise standards.
Yeah. I always like to say, fill in the application. It's like it's one of the best business plans you'll do, because I think once you have the application in front of you and you're going through, we very British, aren't we? We don't like to sing our praises and things, and it's really great to be able to write down all of the great things that you've done, and then even just look back on it and if nothing else, have a glass of wine and celebrate, kind of thing. But I always think once you've done that, just press the send button, because once you've entered, to me, that's when you can start shouting about it to your clients, even before you get to a finalist, to the fact that you've actually entered, because clients just hear awards, and then hopefully to get to a finalist, then, that's when you can really start and shout about it and get your outfits out and new outfit and things. And then obviously to win, there's just no feeling like it, kind of thing.
Yeah, and as a finalist, in some categories, we have 50, 60 entries. So to be even a finalist is pretty good. So obviously you want to win. One thing I want to touch on is also our exhibitors, and that most of them, look, you do get the odd supplier that is perhaps not ethical. We try our best to weed them out. But what I would say is the fun bit of being involved in the sector is, first of all, the salon owner. She is by far my favourite, because they're some fantastic characters. But most of the suppliers that I know do their absolute best for their clients. They're not in it for the short term. And that's what I would be doing if I was a salon owner, is demanding to see the senior management. And you have that opportunity at the shows. I don't want to pick on one, but I was she's not the owner of the business, the UK general manager of Talc, and I'll get shot by all the other brands for mentioning her, but she cares about stuff. Yeah. So you can put her on the paces. Same with Eve Taylor, same with Environ, all the guys and girls that run these businesses that really do care about their client. Of course they want to make money. I'm not saying, they're not saints, but they do want the best for the long-term success.
But there isn't anyone doing a hard sell. They're there. I think a lot of the brands are there to build relationships as well. And to me, that is, I choose the brands that I work with based on the relationship that I've got, kind of thing. Because to me, customer service and how the support that I'm going to get with a brand is huge, because you don't want to just buy something and then you're just left on your own, kind of thing. Having that support around you, and I think for me that's what I see more, rather than someone trying to sell you on the stand. It's not. I know they have show offers. But it's all, and I always like to say to everyone, to really, really get to know the brand and get to know the person as well. I think that's
important. Whether they're right for you and they share your vision.
Yeah, totally. So where do you see the industry going in the next year, would you say, then, Mark?
Well, in the next year, I think there'll be even more of a move to results-driven treatments and advanced treatments. I think that's still happening. I think people perhaps be more specialising. So, for instance, we talk about some nail salons, and some of those we moan about certain groups that do that, but there are also very well-run businesses. And interesting, where we are, we have a very low-cost place and a very high-end place doing nails, fantastic service. So you can find your niche. So I think businesses are finding their niches.
Yeah.
And of course, more and more people of whatever age are concerned with their longevity, their health. So it'll be more, this word is far more overused, is wellness, but what I mean in terms of holistic approach to diet, exercise and treatments is very, very important. So that will come through. I think in terms, if I was a business owner, and I'm not pretending I'm the most flexible, but I think I see those responding to staff that flexibility is the most you can offer. The best, one of the things you can offer relatively cheaply. And do all your clients have to come in on a Saturday?
We don't open on a Saturday. We haven't for years.
So I think offering good team members who've proven themselves, the flexibility, I think that is important to staff, team members, particularly if wages are under pressure. I think there will be there will be more and more home-based and freelance businesses, partly because people will be, because of the cost pressures. Having said that, our clients also want to escape. They want to go to a sanctuary that your salon, your day spa, your clinic provides. So looking after, what is your USP? What is your service levels? What can you deliver? There will always be a demand for that.
Yeah, and going back to what we were saying before, I think that is, again, we are just in this fabulous industry where, you can really, really pick and choose your lifestyle. You can pick and choose, your price point. You can pick and choose the clients you want to work with. There's just so many opportunities we've got.
Yes.
And I think that is just, it is going to...
I think one of the misnomers, don't they think, she can charge X hundred an hour because she's in some posh part of town. And look, if you're in Mayfair in London or some of the footballer belt in Manchester, maybe there are districts you can price a bit heavier, but that's too easy an excuse. There are all sorts of areas, and I know some salons where you think the surroundings are certainly not posh, that actually they're getting a really strong revenue on strong hourly rate because they deliver the service and people will travel. Yeah.
And back to what we were saying, I think it's like elevating yourself to be that expert or standing out in as the go-to place or go-to person in your area kind of thing. And
and there's not necessarily a magic bullet either. There can be small incremental rises. You don't have to necessarily you can try things. You can do incremental improvements rather than this radical revolution sometimes.
It's I just love our industry, as you can tell.
And there are a lot of passionate people who care in it, and that's I think we undervalue that, undersell that.
Yeah, and as well, there's, over the years, I've built such strong relationships with so many people, and I think that's again something that's testament to our industry. That everyone is so supportive, whether it's from suppliers or other salons and things. I think I think we've got quite a unique industry that, to me, is only going to further grow and flourish.
Look, like anything, it will have its ups and downs.
Yeah.
This national insurance rise will test us, but we'll get through it.
Yeah.
And whereas other businesses, you can go online, you cannot have your facial done online. You have to go in, and people will crave more and more for those physical touch experiences. And we just need, as a sector, individual salons, as a sector itself, to show and scream about the value of that.
Yeah.
Which we're not always good at doing.
We will be. We'll continue that. So, Mark, obviously, I absolutely love this. So if someone wants to, I mean, I think most know about professional beauty. If not, obviously you're online, you guys on Instagram and everything. But in the show notes as well, we can put, would there be a way where someone can get a complimentary magazine or something?
Yes, well, if they're listening to you, Susan, they must be good. So yes, you could absolutely have perhaps a year's digital subscription if they will put that in the notes. So we'll give you a code for that.
Oh, that would be amazing.
That'd be good. And obviously, if you are in the trade, you're welcome at professionalbeauty.co.uk to apply for your ticket, and which is complimentary, obviously. You should be in the trade though. You should be in the profession. You can bring along your partner, but apart from that, you've got to be in the trade.
You've got to be in the trade, yeah. And that's. But thank you, Mark. This has been.
Are we done?
Awesome. Yeah.
We've only just started.
I'm sure we'll be doing this again because we could just talk for hours and hours. But Mark, it's been phenomenal. Thank you so much.
It's gone by so quickly. So thank you. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you, Susan. Great to be here.